Pastor Roy Gerhardt from Galloway United Methodist Church in Franklin, Pennsylvania, sharing a few words of encouragement to help us follow after Jesus. Have you ever come to a point in your life where you've had to look in the mirror and say, this is a disaster? When you call yourself out to say, this is the worst thing you've ever done. Well, that's where we're looking at the life of David. In 2 Samuel 11, we see David at that point where he has done the worst thing ever in his life. He became involved in an affair and ended up committing murder and trying to cover it up. It all happened as he was lingering back at the palace while the army was out to war. And as he was just kind of hanging out there, he looks out over the rooftops of the homes around, and he saw a woman there bathing on the roof of her house. He thought she was attractive. Now, look, this is where guys that I hang out with would say, on the first look, that's not your fault. But the second look, oh, that's all you. That's when your desires have kicked in and taken the lead. And in the book of James, in the first chapter, we're told that sin takes shape this way. Your desires grab a hold of you and take the lead. You take the second look. You begin to follow the lead of your desires, and that will open the door to temptation in your life. And when temptation gets its hook on into you, it will reel you in to bring you to sin. And sin, when it gets its grip on you, well, it brings death. It will bring you down, down, down. And that we see play out with David. He makes that second look. He's now on the hook with temptation. He brought the woman over to his house, had the affair with her. When she becomes pregnant, he tried to cover it up. And then when he can't do it with a lie, he does it with murder and had her husband killed. David has gotten caught now in the grip of sin. And it goes from one evil act to another. And sin has a way of multiplying itself like that in our lives and taking us down a path to worse and worse destruction, that it destroys our soul and breaks us from our relationship with God, and it brings death and destruction in its wake on our own lives and on the lives of others around us. This is the point at which God steps in and becomes the hero of the story. David, who has been heroic and marvelous in so many ways, shown courage and character over and over again, has fallen. Our hero has been knocked off his pedestal. But remember, we said that the Bible is not written to produce hero worship, but God worship. And this is where God steps in as the hero who saves David's life by forgiving him, but also by holding him to account. God becomes the real hero for life for all of us. God sent his prophet Nathan over to confront David. And this we can read in 2 Samuel in the 12th chapter. This is a masterful communication as Nathan confronts David's sin. He didn't come straight at him saying, David, I know what you did, and it was awful. Instead, he told David a little story about two guys. And he said, one guy is rich, he's got sheep, goats, cattle running out his ears, but his neighbors got this one little lamb, and they raised this lamb in their home like it's a child. They sleep with it at night, for goodness sake. But this rich guy had some company drop by, and instead of going out to the field and getting one of his own flock, he just went over to his neighbor's house and grabbed this little lamb and fed it to his guests. Well, David is livid. He is so angry. He said, that guy is going to die for what he did, and he's going to pay for that lamb 4 times over. Well, now Nathan's got him, because now when Nathan says, I'm talking about you, David, well, David now has no excuses. He has nowhere to go. He can't start explaining away what he's done and say, well, you don't understand. This is what was going on in my life, and this is what led me to this and everything. No, David has already pronounced judgment on this guy over a pet lamb, and now we're talking about what David has done to Uriah and Bathsheba. And so David has nothing that he can do except say, I've sinned, and throw himself on the mercy of God. Listen, you and I, when we come before God with our sin in tow, we too cannot come to God with all the explanations about, well, you got to understand all these circumstances and all these things happening and all the things other people were doing. Look, all of that may help you to understand how you fell down that hill, but it's not going to help you to turn around. That will come only when you and I come simply before God saying, I'm a sinner. Please save me. May God bless you today. And as you share his good news, may God make you a blessing wherever he takes you.